everyone, it's time to Nietzsche and chill. Today we're diving into one of the most intense and rebellious minds in philosophy, Friedrich Nietzsche. He's the guy who said God is dead, and today we'll find out what he really meant by that, what his principles of atheism are, and how he critiqued religion, especially Christianity, in his famous work, The Antichrist. Let's get into it.
Friedrich Nietzsche was a 19th century German philosopher famous for his radical ideas about morality, truth, and human nature. He wasn't an atheist in the simple "I don't believe in God" sense. Nietzsche's atheism was philosophical. It wasn't just disbelief, it was a diagnosis. For him, the death of God wasn't an event, it was a cultural crisis. And that crisis is where Nietzsche begins. So, to understand what he was really trying to solve, let's move to the next part. Let's step into the world Nietzsche lived in, where faith was fading and questions about meaning were rising. In his time, religion, especially Christianity, was losing its influence. Science and rational thinking were rising, but that left people with a huge question. If there's no God, what gives life meaning? Nietzsche saw this as a cultural crisis, what he called nihilism. This is the feeling that life has no purpose or truth. To make the scenario clear, imagine a time when science and reason began to replace faith, when Darwin proposed the theory of evolution. It challenged the biblical story of creation. Suddenly, people started asking, if science can explain life, do we still need God to explain it? That's the kind of moment Nietzsche was talking about, when faith loses its central role in how we see the world. In that world where traditional faith was collapsing, Nietzsche saw a new kind of person emerging, in what we called the free spirit. These are the thinkers and rebels who dare to question old morals and face the emptiness left behind by the death of God. But Nietzsche didn't stop there. He believed humanity shouldn't just live without meaning, it should create it. That's where his idea of Übermensch or Überman comes in. To explain more about that and how Nietzsche's atheism shapes his criticism of religion, let's move to the next part.
When people hear the term atheism, many think that it just means not believing in God. But for Nietzsche, atheism means more than that. It wasn't just about rejecting God, it was about facing what comes after. If we take God out of the picture, how do we live? Where do our values came from? And how do we make sense of the world without divine authority? Let's break this down. Nietzsche is best known for proclaiming the death of God, diagnosing Western culture as dominated by a nihilistic, life-denying morality that originated in Christianity, and for proposing a life-affirming revaluation of values. Christian values pity, guilt, and sin as virtues which Nietzsche calls a depressant and a prime agent in the promotion of decadence, because they preserve the weak. The struggles we experience, such as loss or hardship, are not problems to avoid, but essential parts of life. Nietzsche criticized how some people use religion to escape difficulties by promising a better afterlife. Instead, when religion is rejected, individuals must develop their own moral principles. Following the God is dead, he called us to respond not with despair but with bold affirmation of life itself. Instead of escaping suffering, Nietzsche urges us to embrace it as a part of life. He believed that real strength comes not from hiding behind religion or comforting illusion, but from facing reality head on. By affirming life in all its complexity, including pain, we unlock the power to grow, create meaning, and live authentically. For Nietzsche, the essence of life is the will to power, the drive to grow, to overcome obstacles, and to create meaning. The only authentic values are those that increase power. All that heightens the feeling of power, the will to power, is good, and anything that stems from the weakness is bad. Now that we've removed God and divine morality, the next one is the Ubermensch, which is the higher type of human. The Ubermensch doesn't live like the herd. He doesn't follow rules blindly. Instead, he creates new values guided by strength, creativity, and self-mastery. While Christianity turns people into obedient domestic animals, the Ubermensch is a creator who gives meaning to their own life and lives beyond the constraint of conventional morality. So let's move on to the next part to see how Nietzsche's atheism becomes the foundation of his critique of religion.
Nietzsche's critique of religion. Number 1. Christianity as religion of the weak. Nietzsche believed Christianity inverted natural values. Where ancient cultures admired strength, Christianity called it pride or a sin. Instead, it praised weakness, humility, and suffering. This, Nietzsche says, is a slave morality, created by the powerless to make the powerful feel guilty. Number 2, Christianity against life. Nietzsche accused Christianity of being anti-life. It glorifies suffering, guilt, and sacrifice instead of joy and vitality. Nietzsche calls it a religion of pity, one that spreads weakness instead of strength and teaching people to feel ashamed of their natural desires. Number 3, Christianity against reason. For Nietzsche, faith is not a virtue. It's not wanting to know what is true. Religion replaces curiosity and questioning with blind obedience. It tells people to stop thinking for themselves and just believe. 4. The holy lie and control. Nietzsche says religious leaders use holy lies, stories of sin and salvation, to control people. The fear of hell and hope of heaven keep humans obedient and self-denying. Number 5. Christianity as nihilism. And here's the twist. Nietzsche says Christianity, the religion that promised meaning, actually leads to nihilism, the belief that life has no value. By focusing on heaven, it makes this world meaningless.
But Nietzsche doesn't want destruction. He wants renewal, rebirth of human strength, to move from relying on gods to becoming creators of our own values.
Here is what he proposes. First, revalue all values. Examine every moral rule we inherited. Ask ourselves, does it make us stronger or it makes us weaker? Does it affirm life or deny it? Second, create meaning. Nietzsche challenges us, don't wait for God to give meaning. Create it yourself. Through art, philosophy, and action, we give life its purpose. Third, become the overman. It is not a perfect person, but one who accepts the challenge of living without divine guidance. He faces life, chaos, and freedom with courage and creativity. Nietzsche believed that the meaning of life is not given by God, but must be created by each person. While Christianity sees human nature as weak and sinful, Nietzsche saw it as strong, creative, and instinctive. Christian morality values obedience and pity, which Nietzsche criticized as slave morality that denies life. For knowledge, Christianity relies on faith, but Nietzsche valued truth and reason. Lastly, Christianity's ideal human is the saint, while Nietzsche's ideal is the overman, someone who creates their own values and lives boldly. So Nietzsche's atheism isn't just rejection, it is a call to courage, to face life directly and affirm it with strength and creativity.
To sum it all up, Nietzsche's principles of atheism and critique of religion are about liberation, freeing humanity from moral chains that deny life. He doesn't ask us to destroy meaning, he asks us to build it anew, to live boldly, to love ourselves, and to say yes to life. Thanks for watching Nietzsche and Jill. Don't forget, Nietzsche's ideas aren't meant to please you. They are meant to challenge you. That's all. See you in the next one!